friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. This is going to be a fun Sunday in the kitchen. We have some things we want to get done today. I'm going to start this video by apologizing for my appearance, but you chose to come into my house and hang out with me, so then you have to take me how you find me, right? Yesterday I wasn't actually feeling well. I didn't actually feel bad. Well, I did feel bad for a little bit, but I started taking my honey and garlic and I didn't feel terrible. And then today I woke up and I don't feel bad at all. I feel completely fine, but I didn't have any energy or motivation this morning. And I finally feel better today, or now. It's right after lunchtime, right around 1 o'clock, and I finally feel better. Or I feel like I have energy again. And then my eye was giving me issues this morning, so I didn't want to put eyes in or contact or makeup on in case I have some sort of eye thing going on. So that's okay. Like, we can be a little underdone in our own house, right? So I hope if you're watching me, you are underdone as well. And we're going to do some fun things in the kitchen today. So I have a bag of frozen but defrosted strawberries. My mom always freezes strawberries. We both freeze strawberries. And she got a pack of strawberries out to give to the bunny as a snack. And apparently the bunny doesn't like strawberries. So I'm going to turn those strawberries into strawberry jam. I just, in a previous video, I just made croissants. So I'm going to make the strawberry jam to go with the croissants. We are also going to make a hash brown casserole. Not following the recipe, I'm going to do my own thing because I need breakfast for the week. And then for our dinner tonight, we're going to be making a pork chop and stuffing dinner. So we're going to get all of that prepared now. I got my pork chops out of the freezer about 20 minutes ago. And they're very, very frozen. So I'm going to get these. And they're bone-in pork chops too. Sometimes I'm fancy. I can't even get them out. So I'm going to put these into a bowl of cold water to get them defrosted. Actually, yeah, bowl of cold water. I don't know what it is about the cold water, but somehow, for some reason, the cold water works. To defrost your meat, I mean. The pork. And hopefully that defrosts quickly so we can get that all put together. I have the strawberries on the stove just in a pot. We're just going to cook them down, simmer them, and then we'll season them up with some sugar, some lemon juice, and a little bit of pectin. While my strawberries kind of just cook and simmer away, we're going to get started on a cheese sauce for our hash brown casserole. So I'm not following a recipe. I'm just using what I have in my freezer. So what I like to do is I like to buy, every now and then, my store has an app where things that their Best By date is coming up, they mark down 50%. And so you can find a lot of good things on there. But what I like to do is they have big bags of potatoes. And I can't always use all the potatoes, but I like to buy them and turn them into something else. So I bought a big bag and I shredded them down into hash browns. And so that's what we're going to be using for the potato component. And then we're also going to be using these biscuits. So I made these biscuits back in the fall, and I switched up the baking soda and baking powder. And I tried to fix it, and I thought I fixed it. I did not. These don't really rise at all. So I'm going to use these up because they're not, like, they taste good. They just don't rise to a fluffy biscuit. So we're actually going to put these on the top of the casserole, just to use them up. And I feel like that can be bad, right? Like, that can be bad. And then we pulled out, also out of the freezer, I pulled out a bag of my shredded cheese. So what I like to do is I go and I buy a couple blocks of shredded cheese, or of blocks of cheddar cheese when it's on sale. And I bring it home, I shred it, and I freeze it. And this defrosts really well. If you let it defrost, you can see it defrosts really well. It doesn't get wet or clumpy. I just spilled some on the floor. I could not be a mess if I tried. Or I could not be a mess if I tried. Anywho, I really like shredding my own cheese, but then I freeze it so that I have it all ready to go. It's a great convenience item. And then I also put out some frozen chopped onions. Again, another convenience item that I really like doing. And we're actually going to have a day coming up soon where we're going to, and we need to do this before summer hits. So I need to do this soon, where we're going to shred some more cheese, chop some onions, kind of get all the last minute things we need to get done. I can't think of, I know these two are on the list. I can't think of anything else I need to do right now. But get all these things done because we're only a couple of weeks out, maybe 2 weeks out from when I'm going to order some soil for my garden. And we're going to be heavily into garden season, getting the garden prepped, getting the garden ready. So we're kind of running out of time. So we're going to have a day that we kind of restock everything, get another batch of freezer meals in the freezer, and because we're not going to have too many of those days coming up in the future. So we're going to start with a cheese sauce. If you watch any of my other videos, I do the same cheese sauce every single time. Oopsie. Oh my god. Mess, mess, mess. So, I'm just gonna make the same cheese sauce I always make. I would add butter in here, but I'm out of butter and it's in the garage, and I've gone out for these ingredients like 6 times because I keep forgetting stuff. And I decided I'm not going back out to the freezer. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. So I'm just going to start, because I want to make a roux for my cheese sauce. So I'm just going to use some garlic olive oil. And I'm going to bring it up to warm, and then we're going to add the flour to make our roux. I'm going to go ahead, my strawberries are boiling away, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add some sugar. I don't really like sweet things. So I definitely go light on the sugar when it comes to my jams. So I'm just doing a couple of teaspoons, or a couple of tablespoons. I only have a small pot of strawberries here. Now that they're cooked just a little bit, I'm going to mash them up. And I do like to have, I guess it's called strawberry jam, not jelly, because I do like, or preserves. Are they different? I like to have some chunks of strawberry in here. Any other fruit, I don't like chunks, but strawberry I do. I don't know why. So I just take my mashed potato masher and run it through. And then just to give it a little brightness, we just want to add a dash of lemon juice. Just a splash. Now, it is very hot, but we're going to go ahead. I just want to give it the smallest taste just to see where my sweetness is. So I haven't added any pectin yet. I just have a little bit of juice. And just see what the flavors are. We need more sugar. A lot more. Okay, just keep that on low. Keep that simmering. Let's add some flour to our cheese sauce for our hash browns. And we're just making a roux here. just making a roux with our flour and our oil. So I'm gonna let that sit and cook for just a minute. You're gonna cook off that flour taste, and we're gonna add some milk, and then we're gonna add some cheese and some deliciousness to make this a cheesy sauce. And this is gonna come together very quickly. Okay. It's just cooked for a minute. We're gonna add some milk. I'm gonna let that come up to temperature and let that thicken. And then let's taste the jam again for sugar, and then we'll add in some pectin. Let's do one more bite. This is just for me, so I'm double dipping. There's not that much to share. Oh my gosh, yes. So with jams, that's not sweet at all. I think I like to add just enough sugar to really bring out the strawberry flavor. And the strawberry flavor in that is so intense, but it's not sweet at all. That's good. So now I'm gonna add some pectin and get that to thicken up. Now I don't have a good amount of jelly. I only have probably a cup and a half. So I'm only going to use half of this bag of pectin. And then I'll keep it for another batch of strawberries, because I have strawberries and I have raspberries in the freezer too. So I can make another just small batch of just fridge jelly. This won't be canned. This will just go in the fridge. Okay. Everything is coming together super, super fast. How exciting. So you're gonna let that pectin cook for a few minutes. Let me see. It doesn't, well, on the box it doesn't say, but let it cook for a few minutes, and then we're gonna put a little bit into a bowl, and you put it in the freezer to have it set up to see if it's a consistency that you like. Okay, literally only cooked for about a minute. Let's go put a little bit, and I'm going to just a little bit and put it in the fridge. I'm going to turn that off while I do that. And my milk over here is starting to thicken up. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our cheeses to this. So we're going to start with my shredded cheddar cheese. And we're just going to keep a little bit out to top the casserole with, because who doesn't like to top casserole with some shredded cheese? And I have a couple of extra cheeses left over we're going to use to throw in here. I have just a little bit of mozzarella I want to throw in here to use it up. And then what I think might be a little weird, but we're going to do it, is I have some goat cheese that I got a while ago, but it's not moldy, it's still good. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to toss this goat cheese in, and then it gets used up and doesn't go bad. And then because we have Velveeta, you always need Velveeta, we're going to go ahead, we're going to add some Velveeta. I love me some, if I can get it open. Ooh, there we go. I love me some Velveeta. It is so good. Okay, let's turn you down. And you just want to use up whatever cheese you have. It's not important what kind. Pepper jack would go really well. I love pepper jack cheese when I'm cooking like this. It goes so well. Okay, while this cheese melts down, we're gonna add some of our spices. We're gonna add, obviously, salt, lots of salt. Lots of pepper. Use a smoked paprika for some color. And then some ground mustard. Now, whenever I make a cheese sauce, I add some of my jalapeno candy into it, or the jalapeno marinade. But I want to see what this tastes like with that goat cheese. I don't know how well those two flavors will go together. They're both strong flavors. I don't know how well that's going to go together. But while that melts, let's go over and let's check our jam. We have that in the freezer. Oh, beautiful. So it's completely solid. And when you pick it up, you can see that it's, hopefully you can see, it's definitely jelly consistency. That's good. That's so good. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna pour this into a container and then put it in the fridge to set. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna put the lid on this guy. I'm just using a leftover jar. My parents gave me all of their old jars that have pot tops, because you can recan them if you need to. But I'm just gonna put this lid on and put him in the fridge to set up. Our cheese is all melted, so we're gonna go ahead. I can really smell that goat cheese. It smells different. Definitely heavy in the goat cheese. I think we're gonna add the last little bit of Velveeta. And then I do think it needs cowboy candy. I don't think I can ever have cheese again without cowboy candy. So we go ahead and toss this puppy in. So this is obvious, but not obvious. My cowboy candy, it's like honey. It's so sugar. It's so much sugar that it has crystallized. So I put it in the microwave for a minute and a half to melt it down, and it actually, my jar actually cracked. I don't know if you can see right up there, it comes down and it's cracked all the way down here. So let your jar come to room temperature before you put it in the microwave, because this one just broke. So I don't know if I can see what's in here or not. I'm gonna leave it out on the counter, see if it, because the jar isn't actually broken through, it just has cracked through the whole thing. So if I can, I'm gonna try to get what's in here out. But if the jar comes apart or there's any pieces missing, we're not gonna use it. Give that a taste. The goat cheese is definitely interested in it. Not interested in a bad way, just interested. So now we're just gonna go ahead and get everything tossed together. So I'm gonna add my, oopsie, I'm gonna add my onions. And then we're gonna add in our frozen hash browns. Oh, you know what we should do? I think we're gonna do. I have this bag of broccoli that I got out for dinner. And I think broccoli, is that weird? I think I'm gonna lose a lot of people when I say I wanna add broccoli. But I think broccoli would be good, right? And I've decided I'm gonna add my frozen broccoli or my defrosted broccoli. I love this cheesy broccoli. And you add broccoli to like an omelet. So I don't see why you can't add it to hash brown casserole. So my breakfast is just gonna be super healthy, right? Well, the broccoli, in my opinion, cancels out the cheese. That's what I'm going with. Okay. That those hash browns need to cook, or not cook, but thaw up. They're still in a couple big clumps. So I'm gonna do the few dishes that I have, let that cook, and then we'll be back when we toss that in the oven and we get started on our pork chop dinner. But this has been about 35 minutes to get the jam done start to finish, get this almost 99% done, and then we just have to do the pork chop stuffing for dinner tonight. So things are going along pretty good. So I think I have this all kind of good and combined. I have the oven set to 400. I have my oven set to 400 because it's running lower than what it's set at. So I'm ideally kind of looking to do this at like 375 to 390, anywhere in there. So I'm just doing 400, just kind of be safe. Anytime I do a big meal like this, or a big thing, I like to try to get 2 containers out of it. So like this one, which has a crack I didn't notice before. Anywho, this one is going to be for this week, and then this one can go in the freezer. And like I said, I wasn't feeling great this morning. Now I feel completely fine. But in case it had kind of, whatever was happening to me was kind of like sticking on, I wouldn't have to make breakfast. I could just pull one out of the freezer. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one in there. I think that's gonna taste really good. I wanna make sure that this sets. So I have 3 eggs I'm just scrambling. And I'm gonna pour this and kind of toss the eggs into this mixture. So I did I'm gonna do 3 for the bigger container and then 2 for the smaller one. These are, I've never had this before. These are eggs from a local farm because eggs have gotten so expensive. So we started buying them from this local farm, and there's 2 yolks. I've never had a 2 yolk egg before. So that's fun. And the color of a farm fresh egg is so much better than the color of commercial eggs. So much better. I'm gonna put these in the oven for 45 minutes and we'll see what they look like then. The casseroles have been in the oven for 15 minutes, and do you want to see something that looks so pretty? Look at them bubbling away. I don't want to let all the heat out, but they look so good. So I'm going to pull one of them out, and we're going to add some of these biscuits to that one. I'm just adding the biscuits to the ones that I'm going to eat this week and not the one I'm going to put in the freezer.
Adding the biscuits was a brilliant idea. This was so delicious, and I will 1000% add biscuits to this casserole forever. I think it was such a genius idea, and it was so good.
Back in the oven. in water. So I'm now gonna go, we're just gonna, and they are actually very thin, so this is only gonna take about 30 seconds. I just wanna get a really nice sear on both sides. So I have my cast iron hot, and I'm just gonna drop these down. Into that hot cast iron. Oh. And pepper them. And they are incredibly thin. So they're not going to be on here long at all. While that's searing, I'm going to take some rolls that I had in the freezer that I thawed. I got these out about an hour ago. I got them out when I got the pork chops out. And we're going to dice these up for our stuffing. So I do like to make a lot of my own bread, and I was 100% planning on using sourdough for this meal, except my sourdough had gotten moldy. I have the awful habit of letting my sourdough get moldy before I use it all. So I try to freeze it, but I'm not always successful. So I like to buy and have some hamburger and hot dog rolls on hand for like when I want to have a cookout and I want to have people over last minute and I don't have the rolls. Or for like right now when I want to make stuffing and I don't have bread. Now I do have frozen sourdough in the freezer, but I had these and I'm like, you know what, let's just go ahead and use these. And I buy these from the store when they're like 70 cents, I think, a bag. So I buy them when they're on sale. And I just throw them in the freezer. So these are from last summer, so they need to be used up anyway. So this is just a perfect use of these rolls. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to check our pork.
I do not know how I bought pork chops this thin. I never would have bought pork chops this thin, I don't think. Because they literally cooked up in 30 seconds on each side. And I shouldn't have put them in the oven and baked them because they basically turned into pork jerky. But they did. So this was not a super successful dinner. I've made this meal 1,000 times and it's one of my favorites and I do love it. But I made a mistake not switching to a thicker cut of pork when I realized how thin they were. I still ate it, but it definitely wasn't near as good as it normally is.
And then we're just going to make a traditional stuffing. So to this stuffing, you could add celery. I don't like celery, so I'm just going to do a little bit of celery seed. And this is very savory, so we're going to do some parsley, some sage, and some thyme. Some sage. Oh, I do really like the smell of sage. I'm just going to do a sprinkling of thyme. And then some parsley. And I want to get this tossed together first. Let me get something smaller. Get this tossed together first. Ah, shoot. Okay, and this is because become my favorite stuffing because it has oranges. So I just have a jar of mandarin oranges, and I do want some of that juice, but I don't want all of it. So I'm just gonna kind of use my hands. Hands are a cook's best tool. They're clean, I washed them. And then just a little bit of that broth or that juice in there. And then you want to toss it again, just being careful not to break up the oranges as much. And then we're going to add in an egg for binding. And get that tossed in. I should have grabbed a bigger bowl. Ah, shoot. Bread overboard. Just use our hands. Let's just own it. And then you take the stuffing and you throw it over the pork chops. And this is oranges. When I first heard of this, I thought oranges seemed so weird in stuffing, but it is so good. It gives you that little bit of juiciness, which you don't think that you need, but you won't. I swear you won't regret it.
I always forget when I make stuffing that you want to put a foil tent over it while it bakes to keep your bread from getting too crispy. I didn't cover mine, and the top edges of my bread definitely got a little crispier than I would have preferred.
That in. Normally I do 45 minutes, but because the pork chops are so thin, I think I'm going to start at 25, keeping the same temperature of 400. But let me bring you down and show you this. Look at that bubbly goodness, and you can see my biscuits did not rise, and I knew they wouldn't. That's why I wanted to use them up. But look how pretty. Okay, did it just come out of the oven? Yes. Am I gonna taste it anyway? Yes. So I'm just gonna taste just a little bit of potato and cheese. But I gotta know if it's good, right? And I've never been described as a patient person, ever, by anyone. That's good. That's yummy. That's really yummy. Interesting. Oh, here's a piece of broccoli. It's a hard piece of broccoli. Okay. So this is very, very, very good. I added 3 eggs to this big guy, which is completely fine. But it definitely is not the cheesy hash browns I expected. It's like a cheesy egg scramble hash brown dish, which is delicious. Not what I was going for, but absolutely delicious anyway. And it's like a fun little surprise. Like now it has extra protein. So this is like a whole meal now. It's veggies, cheesiness, protein, biscuits. It's a whole meal. Ooh, that's a whole meal. So because there's so much like a creamy sauce, the eggs are more scrambled and it's not like a firm casserole. And I don't really like firm breakfast egg casseroles. I prefer them liquidy. Not liquidy, like not like runny, like egg runny, but like this was not intended to be a set up egg casserole. So I'm really happy that it's like just little flecks of speckled or little flecks of scrambled eggs throughout. But I'm thinking this guy, the smaller one, is a bit more set up than the bigger one. So I'm going to put this bigger one back in the oven. just for a little bit, because it is still a little runnier than I would prefer. So it's just a little extra runny. So we're just gonna pop it back in for, we'll do 10 minutes. We'll do 10 minutes, we'll pull that one out. And then this one, I want to pick it up like it's not just out of the oven. This one is set up a bit more than that one. Oh, that's yummy. That's gonna be a good breakfast. Good hearty breakfast. But just that simple. We have breakfast all but done. Dinner's in the oven. When we get closer to dinner time, I'm gonna roast up some snap peas from the garden from last year. And then that's really it. So I'm gonna clean up this little mess we have going on over here. And then we're done for the day. It is 1:30, I think. We started at noon, so an hour and a half, and I sat down and read for about 25 minutes in between there, so not too much. Not too much. So I'll bring you guys back when we get these all out.